There's a new Kong movie in the making, and Legendary announced they'll start filming near the end of 2022. What does this mean for the king of all primates? And will we finally discover that he's not alone in Hollow Earth? In the last Godzilla vs. Kong movie, we found out that King Kong is the real king of Hollow Earth. His species were mortal enemies that battled to death with Godzilla, the monster with the atomic breath. After Kong opened the portal and traveled to Hollow Earth, we found out that he was the last remaining survivor of his species. We even got to see his ancestral home laden with skulls from his ancestors that fell in battle fighting Godzilla. After ascending the throne, King Kong found a mysterious and ancient axe which was made from a giant wooden handle and one of the dorsal fins from Godzilla's back. He took this powerful weapon and thought he'd be able to overpower Godzilla, but we all know how that turned out.
These are dangerous times.
Not only was the axe not enough to stop Godzilla, the poor guy almost died in battle. He was subdued and forced to give up the fight, handing the title King of the Monsters to the one and only Godzilla. However, we know that's now where the movie ends. The axe might not be that good at chopping down ancient dinosaurs, but it was really good at smash that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, it was really good at tearing Mechagodzilla to bits, especially when powered by Godzilla's atomic breath. After winning the battle against his mechanical beast, Godzilla and Kong put aside their rivalry from ancient times and became friends. Finally, we got to see Kong become King Kong by assuming the throne. He'll now be the ultimate protector of all the species in Hollow Earth. But doesn't a king need a queen? Please don't tell us that King Kong is going to be sitting on that throne all alone and leave only when he has to fight against some powerful deadly creature threatening to destabilize Hollow Earth.
Something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion. The myths are real.
We know that the last movie suggested King Kong is the only surviving monster from his species, but that's not the case in the King Kong franchise. Did you know that in the 30s, there was an actual movie called Son of Kong? It was made with a budget of an astonishing $269,000 and managed to bring in an astonishing $616,000 at box office. Of course, you have to remember this was back in 1930 when most people didn't know what a camera was. Even though the movie was about a man in a gorilla suit on an island filled with treasures, it still gives us hope that the next Kong movie will be about the Son of Kong. In the movie from 1933, the main character, a filmmaker by the name of Carl Denham, finds the Son of Kong on a deserted island, so small people can't find it on a map.
That's Kong. He's God on the island.
We don't belong here.
But the devils live below us. I call them skull crawlers.
Unlike Papa Kong, Son of Kong is much smaller. Also, he's a white albino gorilla. He's also a lot smaller than Kong, standing only a few feet taller than an average-sized human being. Carl Denham and Hilda go to the island looking for a treasure. Instead of treasure, they find Kiko, who almost drowned in quicksand. Denham helped the young gorilla as soon as he saw him stuck in the death trap. Then the Son of Kong leads them directly to the treasure, but not before they battle two giant dinosaurs and a large cave bear. As soon as Denham takes the giant gem from the forehead of a stone idol, the entire island begins to sink because of a giant earthquake. Before they could all board the lifeboat, Kiko's foot gets stuck inside a crack in the ground. He can't escape and the water's almost up to his mouth and nose. Just as the group safely gets away, Kiko bids his last farewell to his two new friends by extending his hand through the water and waving goodbye at them.
Fine calling them that. Are you cool with it?
Yeah, that seems like
I
good.
like the name.
So you see, King Kong could end on a positive note. The giant ape is not alone on Hollow Earth. He has a son, and his son is an albino monster. But who gave birth to Kiko? Well, if the movie King Kong Lives from 1986 is to be believed, King Kong has a wife. Her name is Lady Kong, and she looks very similar to Kong. The only way to tell the two apart is their fur. While King Kong has black or gray fur, Lady Kong has reddish fur. King Kong Lives is the first movie about King Kong's love for Lady Kong. You see, at the start of the movie, King Kong is in a coma. He needs a blood transfusion quickly, or he'll die. Hank Mitchell, an adventurer in the Bornean rainforest, finds Lady Kong. They manage to capture her and bring her to the States and give King Kong the necessary transfusion. King Kong's son was infinitely grateful that they saved him from certain death. Kong falls in love with Lady Kong, and while in captivity, the two giant apes mate.
I think that in some way, Kong did the same.
Lady Kong is carrying King Kong's child. Not wanting his new child to spend life in captivity, King Kong breaks out of the compound along with Lady Kong. The US military immediately goes to find Kong and bring him back, Upon finding him, the soldiers open fire on Kong. He's wounded, but the king is powerful enough to take all of them down, but he lost a lot of blood from the battle wounds. But he's not gonna give up. He goes to the barn and sees Lady Kong giving birth to baby Kong in the compound. Taking one last breath, King Kong passes away after seeing his baby boy. The movie ends with Lady Kong and baby Kong returning to the Bornean rainforest, where they're free to live their lives. If you ask us, this is the perfect plot for Son of Kong. It's clear that King Kong isn't the only one from his species. Undoubtedly, there are others. He just hasn't found them yet. Maybe he will in the next movie.
It's Godzilla.
Legendary announced that they're preparing a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. They're gonna start filming the movie in late 2022. After having announced a sequel earlier this year, we don't know how long it'll take before Godzilla vs. Kong 2 hits theaters, but we can expect the movie to be released in middle to late 2024. And here's why we think this is the perfect way to introduce Son of Kong. You see, if they introduce Lady Kong into the franchise, they can't start just mating. Even though we're talking about monsters, the relationship would feel forced. In the next Godzilla vs. Kong movie, after battling their new arch-enemy, they haven't disclosed who it's gonna be, they could introduce Lady Kong in the movie. Whether they do it right from the start or near the end of the movie, they would need another movie to properly introduce the Son of Kong. So we're thinking Son of Kong will assume the mantle of his father after the sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. The new albino gorilla could be born at the beginning of the movie, and we would see Kong training him to become a good fighter like his father. Why is this important? Well, although the movie could go in different directions, we think that the obvious choice would be for the movie to follow the coming-of-age story of Kiko. After the training, he and his father would finally be able to challenge Godzilla to fight to the death. They could finally get revenge for all the fallen ancestors by killing Godzilla, or maybe, just maybe, Godzilla will kill King Kong in the battle, and then the only one left to assume the throne would be his son, the albino Kong. This way, the franchise could move away from Kong and Godzilla and introduce new, more powerful animals in their following movies. Do you think that King Kong should hand over the throne to his son? Smash that subscribe button like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, seriously now, see you in the next video.